August 7th, 1942. 16,000 US Marines wade through chest-deep surf, inching their way toward a jungle-covered island that few of them can even pronounce, Guadalcanal. It's a seemingly insignificant speck in the vast Pacific, but for these men it represents the most critical mission of their lives. The objective is simple: capture the Japanese airfield they are building. But, as the Marines inch closer to the shore, the stakes become much higher than they could have ever imagined. Guadalcanal was supposed to be just another island in the vast Pacific theatre, but it quickly became ground zero for one of the most pivotal battles of World War II. By August 8th, the Marines have secured the island with surprisingly light resistance. The Japanese forces retreat into the dense jungle, leaving the Marines to believe victory was within their grasp. The task seems complete. But this is where the true battle begins. The airfield they've captured is not an airfield at all. It's little more than a patch of cleared dirt, and that dirt is about to become their worst enemy. The Marines, eager to call in air support, are suddenly hit with the reality of their situation. The runway they've fought so hard to capture is unusable. Guadalcanal, like so many other Pacific islands, is covered in tropical soil that, when it's dry, becomes as hard as concrete. But the minute it rains, it transforms into a thick, sticky mud that could swallow anything. And in the Pacific, it rains. A lot. The Marines take one look at the mess they've inherited and realise they're standing on a ticking time bomb. The airstrip, their only hope for survival, is as far from functional as possible. Without air support, they're sitting ducks. But even worse, they have no way to fix it. And that's when the pressure begins to mount. Because while the Marines now find themselves stuck on a mud-filled airstrip with no air support and no hope, the Japanese aren't sitting idly by. The storm has just begun, and the clock is ticking. The real fight is about to unfold, and it's a battle not just against the enemy, but against time, nature, and fate itself. The Marines know that their next move will be crucial. Without a usable airstrip, they cannot survive. But what they don't know is that this one problem, this impassable runway, will change the entire course of the war. Will they survive the coming days? Can they turn this impossible situation into a victory? The tension rises, and the Marines prepare for whatever comes next, not knowing that the answer to their survival lies within the brilliance of a single man, a man who has yet to make his mark on history. But before we can get to that moment, if you're enjoying this gripping story, hit the subscribe button. Don't miss the next chapter of this unbelievable journey. And if you're not subscribing, let us know why in the comments. Go ahead, take a moment. You'll want to be part of this story. It doesn't take long for the Marines to realize that without a functional airfield, the entire Pacific campaign could come to a screeching halt. Guadalcanal was supposed to be a stepping stone, one of many islands in the Pacific that would eventually be taken from the Japanese. But now, it's become the linchpin in the fight for air superiority. In the Pacific, controlling the air is the key to winning. Without the runway operational, there would be no planes to fight off the Japanese bombers that are sure to arrive soon. But it's not just that. Without planes in the air, the Marines are exposed, vulnerable to enemy attacks, vulnerable to airstrikes, and vulnerable to artillery bombardments. This is the reality they face now. The rain continues to fall, and the airstrip becomes more of a death trap with each passing hour. Planes trying to land sink deeper into the muddy soil. Mechanics watch in horror as landing gear struts disappear beneath the surface, as if swallowed by the island itself. The airstrip is more like a sinking ship, and every second it's operational, it's only a matter of time before it drags them all down. But the worst part is that, as the Marines fight to keep the strip usable, the Japanese forces are already preparing their counterattacks. They know the value of the airstrip, and just as the Marines begin to strategize, something else happens, a game changer. A new enemy emerges, one that's not on the battlefield. This enemy is one that could crush everything they've worked for. As the situation grows more desperate, a message comes through to the engineers who are working around the clock to fix the airstrip. It's from command, and it's unlike any message they've received before. The message is clear. Stop everything. Don't make another move. Prepare for a new plan But we have no time to waste. The engineers exchange uneasy glances. What could this mean? What new directive could possibly save them now? As they sit, waiting for the new orders to come through, the tension is unbearable. The Marines have no choice but to follow the orders they've received. But what happens next will change everything. They're about to be forced into a situation that none of them were prepared for. We've reached a critical moment in history, one that changed the course of the war. What do you think will happen next? How will the engineers respond to this shocking new directive? Will they find a way to turn the tide? If you haven't subscribed yet, don't miss the next part of this thrilling story. And for those of you still hesitating, tell us, why haven't you joined the journey yet? We're counting on you. Hit the subscribe button or leave a comment below and let us know what's stopping you. Don't miss out. Your next chance is right here. With no time to waste and the stakes higher than ever, the Army Corps of Engineers begin working tirelessly, brainstorming new ideas, new solutions. But even though they are highly skilled, there's an undeniable sense of pressure. All previous efforts have failed. They know that if they don't find something fast, the Marines will be left completely exposed. At the same time, back in Pittsburgh, James Marston, an engineer at Carnegie Steel, has been following the situation closely. He's been studying the failure of traditional methods, from square mesh track to asphalt-coated fabric, and something clicks in his mind. Instead of trying to create a rigid surface that mimics concrete, Marston comes up with a groundbreaking idea. Why not float on top of the mud rather than fighting it? It's a simple idea, but it has the potential to change everything. But there's a catch. He has no idea if this new concept will work in the real world. He needs to test it. But testing won't be easy. The clock is ticking, and the engineers must now act on the wildest of ideas, with no guarantees that it will work. The moment of truth is fast approaching. Will Marston's idea change the course of the war? Or will it be another failure, like all the others before it? As the team prepares for the first real test, the tension reaches its breaking point. Can a simple concept really save lives? Can this last-minute innovation pull them back from the brink? We'll find out soon. But before we dive into the next part, I want to ask you one thing. How badly do you want to know the outcome of this incredible story? If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time to do so. Don't let this historic moment pass you by. Let us know in the comments why you haven't subscribed yet. What's holding you back? This story is just beginning, and you're going to want to be here for the entire ride. The engineers at Camp Claiborne, Louisiana, are about to embark on a test that could change everything. The swampy, soft soil of this site has been deliberately chosen for its similarity to the treacherous conditions the Marines face on Guadalcanal. The stakes couldn't be higher. The engineers are running out of time, and this test could determine the fate of the Pacific campaign. Marston's new design, a flexible steel plank, has been delivered. It's unlike anything that has been tested before. The planks are 10 feet long, 15 inches wide, and they interlock like puzzle pieces. Each plank is thin enough to be lightweight, but strong enough to support a 50,000-pound aircraft. The holes punched through the steel reduce its weight and allow water to drain through, preventing the mat from becoming a deadly slip hazard. But there's a lingering question. Will it work under the pressure of a fully loaded bomber landing on it? The test is about to begin. The engineers carefully lay down 1,200 square feet of the interlocking planks and position a B-17 bomber on top. The ground is soft, the conditions are brutal, and if this doesn't work, they're out of options. As the bomber rolls across the mat, the engineers hold their breath. The mat flexes, rippling slightly under the weight of the aircraft, but it holds. The engineers exchange nervous glances, unsure of what to expect next. They've seen their fair share of failures, and they know that the Pacific could be won or lost based on this one test. The engineers continue to run the tests over the course of 3 days, each time pushing the mat harder and harder. The result is the same. It holds. There are some surface scratches, but the mat doesn't fail. No fractures, no separation at the seams. The tests prove that Marston's design can work in extreme conditions, but there's one catch. There's no way to know if it will hold up under constant use on the battlefield. They need to deploy it now, on Guadalcanal, to find out. The success of the test comes with a twist. Just when the engineers are ready to celebrate, a new message comes in from Washington. The military brass is demanding immediate deployment. The first shipment of Marston mats will be sent to Guadalcanal within days, and the engineers must prepare for the worst. The deadline is tight. There's no time for additional testing, no time to refine the design. It's a race against the clock. The engineers scramble to finalize the production of the mats, knowing that lives are on the line. But the real danger lies ahead. As they rush to meet the deadline, an unsettling thought creeps into their minds. What if the mats fail in combat? What if this innovation, this miracle solution, turns out to be just another expensive mistake? With the first shipment of Marston mats ready to be sent to Guadalcanal, the engineers know that they're about to face a real-world test. The risk is immense. If the mats fail, not only will the Marines be exposed to the enemy, but the entire Pacific campaign could be jeopardized. The clock is ticking, and there's no turning back. What happens when these mats are deployed on the front lines? Will they hold up, or will they buckle under the intense pressure? The engineers have done all they can. Now, the fate of thousands of Marines and the future of the war rests in the hands of this simple, revolutionary design. But there's something they don't know. As the shipment is loaded onto the cargo ships, the Japanese Navy is preparing a deadly surprise. The real battle for Guadalcanal is about to intensify, and the Marines don't yet realize that the clock is ticking faster than they think. The tension has never been higher. Will the Marston mats make it in time to save the Marines? Will they work as promised, or will they crumble under the weight of the battle ahead? If you haven't subscribed yet, don't miss out. The next chapter is about to unfold, and you'll want to be part of this incredible journey. And if you're still on the fence about subscribing, let us know why. Why are you hesitant to join the journey now? You don't want to miss what's coming next. Trust us, it's about to get even more intense. Hit that subscribe button, or let us know in the comments. We're eager to hear your thoughts. The first shipment of Marston mats arrives on Guadalcanal under dire circumstances. The Marines have been working around the clock, and the enemy is always on the horizon, ready to strike. The airstrip, still in its primitive state, has become their only hope for survival. And as the Japanese forces prepare to launch another attack, the Marines know that this is their last chance. The Seabees, the Navy Construction Battalion, have never seen anything like the Marston mats before. They are tasked with laying down the mats under fire, in conditions more brutal than they've ever faced. These men, once civilian workers, now find themselves in a war zone. They must learn how to assemble the mats quickly, under pressure, while bombs explode around them. The first few hours are tense. The engineers and construction workers rush to lay down the planks, knowing that every minute they waste could cost them. But the first test of the Marston mats comes not from the engineers, but from the skies above. Japanese bombers are already on their way, and as the Seabees work, they hear the unmistakable sound of engines in the distance. They stop in their tracks and scramble for cover, diving into foxholes. The sound of the bombs falling is deafening. When the bombing raid ends, they crawl back to the airstrip, ready to pick up where they left off. But it's not just the bombs that threaten the Seabees, it's the weight of history. They know that if this doesn't work, the Marines on the ground are as good as dead. The first section of the Marston mat is laid, and the work continues. The Seabees have found a rhythm, 2 men hauling the heavy planks, another positioning them, making sure they lock into place. But the challenge is only beginning. As the Seabees work, a reconnaissance plane flies over. The men freeze. They know that when the reconnaissance planes come, the bombers are not far behind. The tension is unbearable. The clock is ticking, and the stakes are higher than ever. In the distance, they hear the faint sound of bombers. The men begin to scatter, diving into whatever cover they can find. But just as quickly as the attack began, it ends. The bombing is over for now. But the Seabees know that it's just a matter of time before the next raid comes. As the men return to work, the first few planes start to land on the freshly laid runway. The pilots report something strange, something they didn't expect. The runway feels different from the others. It's not rigid like concrete. There's a slight give, a flex beneath the tires. But that flexibility isn't a weakness, it's a strength. The first planes have landed. The runway is holding up, but the real test is just beginning. The Marines have a functioning airstrip, but the Japanese aren't done yet. The next bombing raid could destroy everything the Seabees have worked for. Can the Marston mats withstand the weight of constant use? Will the enemy find a way to destroy what the engineers have built? Or will the simplicity and genius of the Marston mat prove to be the answer they've all been waiting for? Stay with us as the story continues to unfold. The next chapter will bring more twists, more action, and the ultimate test of innovation under fire. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. You won't want to miss the next chapter of this gripping saga. If you're not subscribed yet, what's stopping you? This incredible story is just getting started. Hit that subscribe button and be part of the history we're telling here. And if you're still not convinced, let us know why. The journey is just about to get even more intense. It's August 20th, and after days of non-stop work under fire, the Seabees have completed a section of runway long enough to support the fighter planes. The first Wildcat fighters and Dauntless dive bombers take off from the newly built strip, and the Marines begin to breathe a sigh of relief. The planes are able to take to the skies, and for the first time since they arrived, the Marines are no longer vulnerable. The airstrip is functioning. The Marston mats have withstood the test of fire, both literal and metaphorical. The engineer's design is a success, but the journey is far from over. This temporary airstrip is just a patchwork solution. The runway is small, and the Japanese are still a significant threat. The Marines must continue to fight for their survival. But now, they have air cover. They have the ability to fight back, and they have a chance. The Japanese are relentless. They are determined to retake Guadalcanal, and the next wave of bombers is already on its way. But the Seabees are ready, the Marines are ready, and the Marston mats, against all odds, are ready. What happens next will be the true test of this new airfield. Will it continue to hold up under constant use? Will the Marston mat prove to be the secret weapon the Marines need to hold their ground? Or will the Japanese find a way to destroy it all? The battle for Guadalcanal is far from over. But one thing is clear. The Marston mat has changed the rules of the game. Whether it will be enough to turn the tide remains to be seen. What will happen next? You won't want to miss the next chapter in this extraordinary story. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now and join us as we continue the journey through one of history's most remarkable feats of engineering. By the end of August 1942, Henderson Field, once a muddy quagmire, has become a symbol of the ingenuity and determination that defined the Pacific War. The Marston mats have proven themselves, not just as a temporary fix, but as a game-changing solution that turned a desperate situation into a tactical advantage. The Marines now have air superiority, and with it, they gain the ability to defend the island. But the real test of the Marston mats' value is just beginning. As the Pacific Campaign unfolds, the US military begins to realize that this simple invention, steel planks that interlock to form a sturdy surface, has the potential to revolutionize the way airfields are built in the most hostile and challenging environments. The word spreads quickly. From Guadalcanal to other island battlefields across the Pacific, the Marston mat becomes the cornerstone of the United States island-hopping strategy. For the first time in the history of warfare, an island that had once been nothing more than a strategic liability becomes a critical asset in just days. The Marston mat is proving to be indispensable. By the end of 1943, more than 300 airfields have been built or improved with Marston mats. Each one serves as a launch point for new attacks, keeping the momentum of the Pacific offensive moving forward. But just as the success of the Marston mat begins to turn the tide in the Pacific, the engineers discover something unsettling. The mats, while sturdy under the weight of bombers and fighters, aren't impervious to the constant pounding of aircraft landings. The question arises, how long will the mats last under the intense pressure of continuous operations? And more importantly, how will they hold up under extreme conditions as the war stretches on? It isn't just the Pacific theatre where Marston mats are tested. As the war progresses, they're deployed in regions that are far less hospitable than tropical islands. In 1943, the US military begins to test the mats in colder, harsher environments, including Alaska and the frozen tundra. The engineers are faced with a new challenge. Can the mats hold up in sub-zero temperatures? Will the steel, which has proven so effective in the jungles of the Pacific, crack under the freezing conditions of the northern latitudes? The stakes are higher than ever. The US military is now looking for a solution that will serve not just in the Pacific, but across the globe. But just when the engineers think they've found the limits of the Marston mat, they're faced with an unexpected surprise. The flexibility of the mat, which had once been seen as a weakness, becomes its greatest asset in the extreme cold. The interlocking design flexes with the freezing ground, absorbing the shifts and preventing cracks from forming. The Marston mat, it turns out, is not just a solution for tropical jungles, it's a universal solution, capable of adapting to any environment, any situation. The mats have passed the ultimate test, but the true surprise is yet to come. This versatile technology, born from the desperate needs of war, will go on to serve not just the military, but civilian applications that no one could have predicted. As the war winds down, the Marston mat's success in the Pacific and beyond is undeniable. It has saved lives, it has supported crucial airstrips, and it has revolutionized the logistics of warfare. But what happens to it now? With the end of the war in sight, will this remarkable invention become obsolete, a relic of a bygone era? The military has no intention of abandoning it. The question is, what role will the Marston mat play in the post-war world? How will this simple piece of engineering continue to shape the future? And more shockingly, what happens when the Marston mat is needed in ways that no one expected? The story of the Marston mat doesn't end with the war. Its legacy will continue to unfold in ways that will surprise even its creators. But before we dive deeper into this untold story, I want to ask you, have you subscribed yet? If not, why not? Don't miss the next chapter in this incredible journey. Hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments what's holding you back. We want to hear from you, and we don't want you to miss the next big twist in this history. The year is 1946. World War II has ended, and the US military is beginning to scale down its operations. The need for new airfields has lessened, and the Marston mats, once a vital piece of wartime technology, are being discarded. But in the hands of visionary engineers, the mats aren't just left to rust. They are repurposed for an entirely different use. In Alaska, oil companies begin to realize the potential of the Marston mat in the harsh northern environment. The same technology that once supported aircraft now becomes a tool for building temporary roads and drilling pads over permafrost, without disturbing the delicate ecosystem beneath. In remote areas, where construction is difficult and the ground is unstable, the Marston mat is the perfect solution. It spreads the weight of heavy equipment, allowing it to be used in places that were previously impossible to access. The military, impressed by its success in civilian applications, begins to look for new ways to utilize the Marston mat in emergency situations. And as the years go on, the mats continue to serve in areas devastated by natural disasters, Haiti, the Philippines, and even in areas of Southeast Asia that have been ravaged by conflict. But the real shock comes in the 1960s. The Marston mat, now a symbol of wartime ingenuity, is about to find its most surprising use yet. In 1965, during the Vietnam War, the Marston mat is brought back into service, not as a temporary airstrip, but as something much more vital. The US military, engaged in a brutal conflict with the Viet Cong, finds that it needs to build infrastructure quickly and efficiently in the midst of a war. The Marston mat once again becomes the unsung hero of the war effort. But in the years that follow, the mats find themselves used in places where no one could have predicted. In the early 1970s, environmental groups, struggling to build temporary roads in sensitive areas, turned to the Marston mat as a solution. The mats can be laid down and removed without causing permanent damage to the environment. This unexpected use of the mats begins a new chapter in their history. What began as a wartime necessity has evolved into a critical tool for environmentalists, humanitarian groups, and construction teams working in some of the most challenging locations on Earth. The Marston mat's journey has been nothing short of incredible. From a desperate wartime solution to a global tool for civilian applications, it has withstood the test of time. But as the years go on, new technologies are emerging. Will the Marston mat, now a part of history, be left behind in favor of newer, more advanced solutions? Or will the simplicity and effectiveness of its design continue to make it a vital part of the infrastructure of the modern world? In the next chapter, we'll explore the incredible future of the Marston mat, the challenges it faces, and the surprising places it still serves today. But before we continue, I want to remind you, if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. You won't want to miss the next incredible twist in this story. Don't let it slip by. Subscribe now, and let us know why you haven't yet. What's holding you back from being part of this journey? It's now 2010, and the Marston mat, an innovation from the Second World War, is being put to use once again in a way no one could have anticipated. In the wake of a devastating earthquake in Haiti, where the infrastructure has been completely destroyed, the US military airlifts pallets of Marston mats to the damaged airport in Port-au-Prince. Within 48 hours, the runway is operational again. Cargo planes loaded with medical supplies and food are able to land, offering a lifeline to the thousands of people in need. The Marston mat, a technology designed for war, has become a critical tool in disaster relief efforts across the world. In the years that follow, the Marston mat continues to serve in various conflict zones, in areas recovering from natural disasters, and even in civilian construction projects. Its ability to provide temporary yet durable solutions makes it invaluable in times of crisis. The story of the Marston mat isn't just about steel, ingenuity, or wartime innovation. It's about how one simple idea can change the course of history. From the jungles of Guadalcanal to the deserts of Afghanistan, from the cold tundra of Alaska to the earthquake-ravaged streets of Haiti, the Marston mat has been there, supporting life, saving lives, and providing hope. It's a testament to the power of innovation under pressure, and it's a reminder that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective. What do you think of the Marston mat's incredible journey? From the battlefield to disaster relief, it has proven its worth over and over again. If you found this story as inspiring as we have, don't wait another moment. Subscribe now and join us as we continue exploring the untold stories of history. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we're dying to know. What's stopping you? Let us know in the comments. We can't wait to hear from you.